أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وآله وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. With Allah's blessing and bounty, favors of Allah Azza wa Jalla upon us, with His guidance, we Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen finished Surah Al-Baqarah with the analytical Tafseer series that we have in few years. Alhamdulillah, we managed to cover Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, and also we cover Surah Al-Isra, Surah Bani Israel, Surah Al-Kahf, and Surah Al-Insan. Correct? So those are the surahs that we covered in this class, Alhamdulillah, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla the Almighty to keep His guidance with us, keep His mercy surrounding us, to keep His forgiveness also for us, and we continue more with His book Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Today inshallah we start the Muqaddimah, the introduction of Surah Al-Imran. And it is correct to say Muqaddimah and Muqaddamah, both correct in Arabic, but they have different meaning, right? Muqaddimah, it is like a subject here, means it does something. Muqaddamah means something done to it. What I mean is like this. Muqaddimah means it introduces what comes after. Muqaddamah means it is pushed forward for a reason. Something is in the front. It's ism maf'ul, object. Yeah. So when you say this person introduces the one after him, or this person is pushed forward by the others, right? So both are there, Muqaddimah and Muqaddamah, and both can be pronounced, but from different perspectives. So Muqaddimah today, inshallah, introduction for Surah Al-Imran. Muqaddimah normally it does what? For any book, what does it do? It gives you the perspective of what you are about to study. That's why for a student of knowledge, for someone who is serious, introduction is very important. Our shuyukh advised us, whenever you want to add a book to your library, you do the following. Number one, you know the title of the book. Like you bought a book, for example, or you are about to study something, you should know its topic and the author, right? And the print, like, you know, this book is Tafseer of Surah Al-Imran, and it is done by Sheikh such and such, right? And you know the print or the premise that we studied is. So this is the basic information. So that's number one you do in any book you want to add to your library. What is number two? You're going to read the introduction of the book, because in that introduction of the book, the author writes for you what he did, why he did it, how he did it, or she did it. Okay? Always the introduction of any book is written after the book is done. I'm sure you know that, right? So after the book is done, the introduction is written. It tells you exactly how to solve all the issues of the book. So number one, you have to know the title, the topic, and all the basic information. Number two, you have to read the introduction. Number three, you're going to read the index. You still have not opened the book yet, right? Yeah. So the title and the topic, basic information, then you read the introduction thoroughly, and then after that you read the index. You see how the layout of the sections and everything, and then you see which one of interest to you, right? Then you skim through the whole thing, you know, like just seeing, being familiar with it. Then you see if there is one or two sections of special interest to you, then you read them, and then you put the book in the library for later, right? So even if you did not get to it for a year or two, you have a general idea about that book. Okay? Well, how it helps you, because whenever a challenge comes, you know where to go, which book to get. And that's why many beginner students, for example, wonder when they ask a question, the sheikh tells you go to such and such book. It doesn't mean that they read all the tens of thousands of books, but they know exactly, right? Because they did what I just told you. So that's the kind of secret here in knowing where to look. Okay, where to look. Even, you know, when I open the book, my eyes just go straight to the to the exact place where the information is. It's not because it's genius or anything, no, because I saw it before, right? So that's importance of introduction in books. Importance of introduction of what we do here is every ayah that we are going to cover in Surah Al-Imran, for example, your brain will recollect some of what we say today. That's automatic, right? You will not remember that we said it today, but it's going to come to your head. Why? Because that's the importance of introduction here, right? Introduction. So inshallah, so we will start based on that. Surah Al-Imran is surah number 3 in the Mus'haf order. So a Mus'haf order is different from Revelation order, right? Revelation order is different. We talked about it before. But this is in the Mus'haf order, Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Baqarah, then Surah Al-Imran. And it is a Madani surah. So that's the second piece of information about this surah. It's a surah in Medina. Madani, some said means revealed in Medina or its surroundings. The other said it is chronologically means revealed after the migration of Rasulullah from Medina, even though not necessarily it was revealed in the city itself. And it is 200 verses. So it's a little bit shorter than Surah Al-Baqarah, 286. This is 200. But it is the second longest surah in Al-Quran. The second longest surah in the Quran. You know, we have 7 long surahs in the Quran called the Sab' al-Tuwal. Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Nisa, Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah Al-An'am, Surah Al-A'raf, and Surah Al-Tawbah. Al-Anfal is in the middle, but it is short, right? Some others consider the Al-Anfal and the Tawbah as a one unit. So that makes it 7, right? So say the first 10 juz of the Quran, yani 1/3 of the Quran is 7 surahs, plus Surah Al-Fatiha. Okay, so Surah Al-Fatiha is short, right? But you know, if you start from the Quran and said, what are the 7 longest surah in the Quran? The ones I just told you now. So the first, the ones, they comprise 1/3 of the Quran. So 10 juz out of 30, they are those 7 surahs. It is those 7 surahs, plus Surah Al-Fatiha. All right? Yeah. Now, so that's the first point, basic information about Surah Al-Imran. That's why I was telling you about the introduction. It's important in any book, right? Also, we're doing the same here. So basic information about Surah Al-Imran. It is the 3rd surah in the Mus'haf. It is the second longest in the whole Quran after Al-Baqarah. It is one of 7 long surahs that comprise 1/3 of the Quran. It's 200 verses, 86 verses shorter than Surah Al-Baqarah, right? And it is Madani surah. That's called basic information, all right? Now, what is the level of connection between Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran? You see, we said that before in Surah Al-Fatiha, if you remember. Surah Al-Fatiha, what is the main theme of Surah Al-Fatiha? What is the core of Surah Al-Fatiha? If I ask you, what is the core? What is the main thing of Surah Al-Fatiha? When you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, what is the main idea in there? Asking Allah for guidance, right? Ihdina, correct? So what happens before that word and what happens after is to get that word. So first you're praising Allah, that He is, praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. You're recognizing Allah, right? You are manifesting your slavery to Allah. You are the Rahman, you are the Rahim, you are there is Yawmuddin, you know, Qiyamah, you are the King, you know, all of that. You are praising Allah Azza wa Jal. Iyaka na'bud, I'm worshipping you, Iyaka nasta'een. All of this is introduction to what? Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. So that is the main idea of Surah Al-Fatiha, right? Right? Then after it comes which path you want. So before and after is basically for that line. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Now, if we say how Surah Al-Baqarah is related to Surah Al-Fatiha, it is a response to that. So you're asking Allah for guidance, hidayah. Allah Azza wa Jal said, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, and then describe the muttaqeen. You want Allah's guidance? So Surah Al-Baqarah and the rest of the surah. So this is what we mean by how much the surah is relating to the surah before it. Now, last session, if you remember, to jog your memory, we said Surah Al-Baqarah basically covering the whole deen of Islam, right? But more specifically, it was talking, or there is a conversation between the Muslims and Ahlul Kitab, namely the Jews, right? Now this surah is continuation of that conversation between the Muslims and Ahlul Kitab, but namely the Christians. You see the relationship here? So it continues in the same path of Surah Al-Baqarah. Also, if we summarize them in a point, the relationship in points, the relationship of Surah Al-Imran and its attachment to Surah Al-Baqarah, we can summarize it in the following points. Point number 1, people's reaction to Quran. So Surah Al-Imran and Surah Al-Baqarah share what? How people reacted to Quran. Both surahs start with mentioning the Quran. Both surahs. Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah said, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ. Surah Al-Imran, Alif Lam Mim, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyu al-qayyum, nazzala alayka al-kitab. Kitab, right? So it starts with what? Quran, mentioning the Quran, and the rest of the surah saying how different types of people reacted to the Quran and the message and the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Make sense now? So both surahs start with the same and discusses the same. Surah Al-Baqarah, it talked about the believers and the non-believers, and in Surah Al-Imran it talks about a group that likes to create confusion through Quran. That's a new group now, right? You know, new type of hypocrisy. In Al-Baqarah, talked about hypocrites, how their attributes, right? They do this, the example of them is that. In here, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, there are some people follow the Quran just to create confusion. They call the Quran and ما تشابه منه. They follow the ayat that can mean different things and twist the meanings to serve a certain purpose, right? So this is also to create fitna. And Allah talked about the people who are solid and well versed in the religion. They are the ones who really entitled to interpret the Quran for people, right? راسخون في العلم. We'll talk about them inshallah when we come to the tafsir. So that's point number 1. Point number 1 is people's reaction and attitude toward the Quran. So point number 1 that Baqarah and Al-Imran share, right? We're talking now, what are we talking about now? After basic information of Al-Imran, we're talking about how Al-Imran relates to Al-Baqarah, right? So that's point number 2 here. Al-Imran relates to Al-Baqarah in few points. 1, how people react to Quran. Al-Baqarah did that in a certain way. Al-Imran is doing that also in a different way. So what would be the second point? That Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran, they are similar, or Al-Imran is following Al-Baqarah. Allah Azza wa Jal Allah is mentioning the similarity of the creation of Adam and the creation of Isa. So in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jal discussed the story of Adam. Remember? Allah told the angels, I'm going to create someone, and they said, you create someone to bloodshed and all of that, right? Then Allah created Adam and taught him everything and asked the angels, miraculous creation from nothing. First man, right? And in Al-Imran, it shows Allah's miraculous creation, but in a different way. Like Isa from a mother without father, right? So that shows us Allah created Adam from no father, no mother. Allah created Hawa from father and no mother. Allah created Isa from a mother but no father, and Allah created all of us from father and mother. So this is the logical way, 4 different ways of creation. So that is a similarity between Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran. It shows Allah's power in creation, one through Adam, and the second surah through Isa alayhi salam. That's how surahs are similar. Similarity number 3, it is debating with the people of the book, as I told you. Debating with the people of the book. And the Surah Al-Baqarah with the Yahud, right? And it's through their history with Musa alayhi salam, through their history with Musa alayhi salam, and how they broke the covenants and all of that. And this is a lesson for us also as Muslims to learn from, right? And in this surah, Al-Imran, even though it's not much details like Al-Baqarah with the Bani Israel, the Yahud, it's here also with the Nasara and their reaction with Isa alayhi salam. So Yahud with Musa alayhi salam and their history in Al-Baqarah, and Nasara and their history with Isa alayhi salam in Al-Imran. That's similarity number 3. All right? Similarity number 4. So similarity number 4. Teaching us dua at the end of both surahs. In Surah Al-Baqarah, رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا. Remember? In Nasina Akhtan. I wish all of you memorize that, inshallah, and make dua with that every single day. Right? In the morning and at night. This is very important dua. At the last verse of Surah Al-Baqarah, it is a beautiful dua. Okay? This is, and when you're making that dua, I want you to remember that who taught you that dua? Allah Himself. That means the best dua and the dearest to Allah is the one that Allah give you in His Quran. The best. Because Allah said, ask me like this. So that means the best way that He wants is you make the dua with the Quran. رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيا حَسَنَةً رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ. And Al-Imran also is full of those du'as. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا رَبَّنَا إِنَّنَا سَمِعْنَا مُنَادِيًا. At the end of the surah, right? There's a long dua of ulul albab, right? الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا, and what they say, ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار ربنا إنك من تدخل النار. At the end of the surah. So both surahs similar in what? Teaching us the adab of dua and how to make a special dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, encompassing all our needs. Because what is your need basically? Then أتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة. Everything you ask is details of that general dua, isn't it? You want good in the dunya and good in akhirah, yes or no? So basically anything you ask in the dunya is the details of part number 1. And anything you ask in akhirah is the details of number 2. That's why one Sahabi come to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, أما إني لا أحسن دندنتك ولا دندنة معاذ. You and Mu'adh ibn Jabal make long du'as. He's telling Rasulullah, right? You ask Allah too many things, very eloquent, right? But I don't have that kind of ability, right? You're asking what? How can? Rasulullah said, what are you asking Allah? What are you asking Allah? He said, I ask Allah to give me save me from hellfire and admit me to Jannah. He said, all our dua is around it. All the dua we say is around that. So, yes, Allah loves you to beg Him subhanahu wa ta'ala and detail your dua. That's a good one, by the way, and to keep asking Allah for the same thing and ask Allah for various things. Allah loves that from His servant. Okay? But if you can't, and you only have the general one, that's fine too. So it depends on your situation, and your time, and your mood, fine. Okay? But don't think that a longer dua is better than a shorter one. No, sincerity is the most important. And need is the most important. So to show that need, you feel the need, and you are sincere about what you're asking. Now, what language you are asking or how much you are asking, that's another issue, right? So, the Surah Al-Baqarah dua, it shows us the rahmah of Allah on not overburdening us with what we cannot do, right? We forget, Ya Allah, we make mistakes. So please don't, burden us with being afraid and scared more, of punishment because we do those things. In the Surah Al-Imran, the dua is more of being firm on the religion. So in Dua Al-Baqarah, it is more of not accounting you with your mistakes, right? But dua of Al-Imran is to make you firm to be able to do good. So when you said, Ya Allah, I'm making mistakes, I am weak. So don't make this a reason for me to be punished. But in here you say, Ya Allah, with you only I can do lots of good things. So make me able to do more things. So here you are asking Allah not to, and here you're asking Allah to. You see? So you don't want Allah to punish you because of your weakness and shortcomings, but here you want Allah to give you strength and make you firm on the deen. See, both balance each other. That's why Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran always mentioned together. Like Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, always mentioned together. Always Baqarah and Al-Imran mentioned together. That's why Rasulullah said, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the one who recite or who knows, and when Rasulullah said recite, means they know the rulings and that they're acting upon it and they understand both surahs. It will come like two clouds covering them in the day of judgment. And your recitation and your amal. It's not the surah itself. Because everyone different, right? So it's not the surah itself will come out from the mushaf and become like that. No. When Rasulullah is saying that means your work will take a physical shape in Yawm al-Qiyamah. Yani your salah will have a shape of some type. Your recitation of Quran have a shape of some type that talks also, right? Said, Ya Allah, he was doing me this, so please, Ya Allah, give her this forgiveness. That's fasting. Siyam. Even in our grave, Rasulullah said, when a person is buried, you will see a very nice person, white, smells good, and white clothing, and smiling, and all of that. That's your amal. Or vice versa, a'udhu billah, right? So the amal in afterlife, it takes a tangible, physical shape. In here, those are ideas. When we say love, hate, mercy, justice, those are concepts, right? But in Yawm al-Qiyamah, they take shapes that you can touch, you can hear, you can taste, those kind of things, right? In Yawm al-Qiyamah. That's why Rasulullah said that death will come in Yawm al-Qiyamah after the people of Jannah go to Jannah. May Allah make us among them. After the people of Hellfire go to Hellfire. May Allah save us from that. Rasulullah said that death will be brought like a sheep, a ram, and will be slaughtered between Jannah and the Hellfire. Ya Ahlul, you know who's this? He said, Ya Allah, we know this death. That means there is no death after that. So death is a concept, right? But in Yawm al-Qiyamah, it becomes a shape that it is slaughtered. That means no more death. Okay? So this is how Allah says, and we came to all the deeds that they did, and we make it like dust, crushed dust, haba'an manthura. That means you have your deeds around you. This is the salah, this is the siyam, this is birrul walidain, this is the good things, this is Quran, this is going to the masjid. They are a'mal. Everyone have their own, like children around you, right? So it depends. You can make them ugly, you can make them good. You can make them healthy, you can make them sick. You can make them a burden over you, or you can make them a ride that takes you. It's up to you, right? So here in Surah Al-Imran and Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran, they are discussing that aspect of our a'mal, right? So Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam saying Yawm al-Qiyamah, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, means your amal and your recitation, comes as a two clouds covering you from the heat of that day. Also, in another hadith, they come like two, how you say, the flock of birds, right? Two groups of birds. Also, they are covering you and giving you comfort in Yawm al-Qiyamah and its confusion and all of that. So those are the issues of similarity between Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran. One more, that Allah Azza wa Jal affirming in both surahs the success of the believers at the end. The success of the believers. Al-Falah. Al-Muflihun, يعني, right? The success. Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Baqarah, it starts with the description of the mu'mineen. أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. The ones believe in the unseen, the one who go to the salah, the one who spend, right? The one who believe in what we reveal to you, the one who believe in what 5 descriptions of the believers. The beginning of Baqarah, right? Beginning of Al-Baqarah. Al-Imran ends with that. Says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So you do those things, out of the taqwa of Allah. So Surah Al-Baqarah said, Hudan lil muttaqeen. And muttaqeen, they do those physical acts, and they are the muflihun. Right? So the Quran is guidance for who? Muttaqeen. And who are the muttaqeen? They do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if they do that, they are among the muflihin. Then Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, and you have to be among the muttaqeen, so you become muflihin. So it reminds us with the beginning of Al-Baqarah. You see how they are one unit? So the beginning of Al-Baqarah, and it goes all Surah Al-Baqarah with all its ahkam, Surah Al-Imran with all the history and ahkam, and it ends up with what Al-Baqarah started with. You see how beautiful it is? As when you see, that's why we say Baqarah Al-Imran all the time. They are very important. So inshallah, hopefully when we finish this course of Surah Al-Imran, we kind of have everything inshallah in our head inshallah. Alright, so those are the points of similarity of Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran. Now, generally, what are the main subjects of Surah Al-Imran? The subject matters of Surah Al-Imran. In general, Surah Al-Imran have both parts of our deen, Aqidah and Sharia. Aqidah and Sharia, same like Al-Baqarah. Aqidah means آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله. Right? That's Aqidah. Aqidah means what you believe in. Aqidah means what you believe in, your faith. Your faith part, creed. Right? But Sharia is what you do with yourself, between you and Allah, and with others. That's called Sharia. Huh? Mu'amalat, yeah, but Sharia also ibadat. يعني Sharia also has ibadah in it. It means worship, salah, siyam, ahkam. يعني. Sharia means ahkam, rules, how to. Sharia is what to and how to. What to do and how to do it. That's the meaning of Sharia. So when they say Sharia law, this is kind of like, doesn't make sense when Sharia, because Sharia is law. Torah means Sharia. The word Torah in Hebrew means Sharia in Arabic. Yes. No, the Torah, the word Torah, the translation of Torah is Sharia. Yeah. Law in English, L-A-W. The word Torah, what is the equivalent of it in English? The law. The law means how to do things. And actually, what's his name? Jon Stewart, this guy for the show, the Daily Show, who quit, He's the one actually mentioned that. He said, and he's a Jew. He said, actually, the word Torah means Sharia, And you guys are talking about Muslims, but anyways, just beside the point. So the word Sharia is what to do as a servant of God and how to do it. Make sense? So this is the translation of the word. The word Sharia means what to do as a servant of God and how to do it. So Sharia covers that. Now, what to do in your relationship with your Creator? Salah, Siyam, Zakah, Hajj, and all that. What you do within yourself, your cleanliness, your behavior, and when you are alone, when you are with others. What to do with others? Selling and buying and marrying and all of these kind of things, neighbors and all the rights of others. That's all called what? Sharia. Aqidah is what is in your heart, which nobody can access. And nobody can actually for sure say what you think. No one can except you, except Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one. No angel, no shaitan knows exactly what you think. No one. Right? So it is Allah and it is you who know exactly what you believe in. So this surah is managing both. Some other surahs in the Quran, it's either focusing on Aqidah or focusing on the Sharia. Surah Al-Kafirun, only Aqidah, right? Surah Al-Ikhlas, Qul Allah Ahad, only Aqidah part, right? And so on. So this surah has both in details. Now, in more specific way, the ayat of Surah Al-Imran talking about Allah's oneness, talking about the prophethood, nubuwah, right? Talking about the authenticity of Al-Quran. So it talks about Allah's oneness, it talks about the prophethood, it talks about the authenticity of Al-Quran, and it voids all the claims and attacks of the people of the book around Quran and the Prophet ﷺ. So it answers their doubts raised about Rasulullah, about the Quran. Allah is answering them in Surah Al-Imran. Okay, so if you study Surah Al-Imran really well, you can actually reply to those claims, as we will see together inshallah, right? Why? That's why the surah starts with those who follow the Quran, or those who take the Quran to twist the meanings, to create doubts, create problems. And there are people who are like this in our time. They said, well, you are Muslim, yeah, well, how Quran says this and say that? Yes? How Quran says this and how Quran says that? And then if you don't have knowledge, then you get shaken, right? That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the next word, the next sentence, He said, those with knowledge are the ones who can interpret it, right? That means you stick with that, okay? So if you don't know, don't panic, because someone knows, right? And our deen is like we all together at one body. So don't feel that you're attacked and you cannot reply because you don't have the answer. No, the religion has the answer. And those with knowledge will help you with that. And that's why you are here, right? That's why we are, and I am also studying and asking and all of that. That's how our religion serves all of us that way, with knowledge.
So,
Yes.
so what if people say that the Torah, the Quran, the angel and everything is only words of man? It's not a word of Allah.
Yeah, but that's it's a very good question. You know, this is a fact or an opinion. You know, there's a difference. You know, the kids study in school the difference between fact and opinion, right? Fact means nobody can deny. The sun comes from the east. Khalas. You know, nobody is going to come and say, I'll prove that it comes from the west. Because, you know, everybody will say, go, right? Because it's a fact. But an opinion, that's a statement. Somebody make that statement. That statement can be right and it can be wrong. How you can make it right and wrong? Discussion. So the problem is when you accept that statement as true, and then you become very defensive, right? That becomes very defensive. When somebody say, those are words of man, well, prove it. Prove it that it is word of man. Okay? I can prove to you that the Quran is not word of man. Easily. Linguistically, scientifically, religiously, logically, philosophically. You call one, you name one, and I'll prove to you that this is not a word of man using that logic. Okay? And we can go on and on and on. And people don't normally stand until then, right? But they don't survive until then. You know, they say, all these are words of man. All religion is man-made, blah, 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 all of that, right? It's easy to make that statement, right? But you got to prove it. You got to prove your words. I am saying that Islam is the last religion. Well, I'm making a statement. You can believe me or you don't believe me, right? But I will make all types of arguments to prove my point. Now your job is to prove me wrong. If you cannot prove me wrong, you cannot tell me I'm wrong, right? You see, so it's all philosophy, you know. But people will make that kind of categorical statement, they're ignorant. Believe me, they are ignorant. And knowledgeable people, the people of knowledge, knowledgeable people, even those who hate the religion, they don't make these statements. They don't, because they know that it's, you know, someone with no knowledge, right? Who can make that. Anyways, so it answers.
The other common comment is always it's so confusing because it doesn't, you know, it's like like suddenly telling this and then only half of it and then goes to another subject.
Very good.
What comment.
Very good. That's again the statement of someone from outside.
Yeah.
I find a book in astrophysics. Astrophysics is very important for us as human beings, right? But then, I look at it, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Okay, but there are ways for it not to be confusing. Is it confusing for every single human being on the face of Earth? The answer is no, right? So we ask a person who's not confusing for that person. Why the Quran is not confusing for you? Because I studied it step by step and I did this, and Quran addresses every single person according to their level of knowledge, right? But it does not put a limit on anybody how far you can go. Okay?
It's true that it gives actually when it's a project from, like that, for example, there's Surah Al-Baqarah. One time there was like that kind of conversation, and I say, well, actually it's round. And it started with this, and then go into it, and then go into the end, and then that actually encourages the person.
No, we talked about that few sessions ago about the importance of not finishing the subject in one place, because then the Quran has no value. Because you finish that chapter, you don't want to see it again, right? But the whole point is to see that it is coming from God. It does not follow your pattern as a human being.
Yeah, exactly.
It shouldn't follow your pattern, because we get bored and we kind of like, okay, I finished that task, I don't want to do it again, right? But the whole point of it is, mentioning every single aspect with every single setting. Meaning, story of Adam has to come in different settings. So it's not a story of Adam, it's not a story separate from you, right? It has to come in Surah Al-Baqarah while Aqidah is discussed. It has to come in Surah Al-A'raf while the Yawm Al-Qiyamah is discussed. It has to come in Surah Taha while Sayyidina Musa is discussed, So the same story, it is not just a story of a past that happened.
Yeah.
No, story of Adam, we live it every day. So in every time, every different settings, you have to be reminded with it. Salah, as we said last time, has to come within the divorce. And it has to come within this. And it has to come within business. You cannot say, okay, this is a section of Salah. Then people in their head, I only pray because I need to pray. But Salah is separate. You see? So, but Salah has to come with Adam. It has to come with Rasulullah. It has to come with Sayyidina Yusuf. It has to come with patience. It has to come with taqwa. And no human being can do that. And that's the point. No human being can, because we as humans, we want to get over with the task.
Yeah.
Right? But to relate things, it's very hard. How to come out from here to the other subject. And then you go back again to the subject. So actually it's a miraculous thing. If this happens in any other human work, it becomes confusing. That's why people are used to this, not used to this in the regular book. So when they come to the Quran, they judge it as a regular book.
Yeah. And
You see the point? Like, if a writer comes and he keeps jumping and says, oh, no good book, I'm confused. I need to follow the story like this. So when they come to the Quran, they said, they judge the Quran according to that. But when we talked about the Quran, you're asking Allah, you're dealing with Allah Azza wa Jal, who knows the affairs of all the world and of all your life simultaneously. So he's not discussing one topic only. He's discussing you with the whole world, right? So it has to be like that. Then you cannot judge the Quran according to any other standard. It has a standard by itself.
But it's also the people who are guided to the deen who said exactly what you said and understood it. Then they realize that that's not the word of man, and that's what draw them into the deen itself and make them study further.
That's happening.
Exactly.
My discussion has always happened at the office or business trip or things. That's what happened. But one time, I'm not sure. I don't know. But one of the approach that I was, saying was like, that's why in the Quran we actually were prepared at the beginning of the Quran. I was mentioning that we have to also believe on the ghaib and then it's like and then one bridge at that time of my discussion was they mentioned like about the history of time, Stephen Hawking book. And then I just say like, go to the end of the book of the Stephen Hawking, where he also admitting that, if basically that's and that's when
the whole point the whole point is see, religion and philosophy, they are independent from each other. That's how it's made through history. It's not our discussion today, but in general, religion is discussing the material, and it is discussing the metaphysics, that means ghaib, right? Philosophy doesn't do that. Philosophy only what I see, what I touch, what I taste, what my mind can comprehend. This is what I believe in. So there is no way that they both can meet, right? And that's the problem. That's the whole issue in there. You cannot convince someone, because this is the easy route. This is the easy route, and that's what the atheists or people, they trying to convince human beings, right? Why you have to put your hope in something you cannot see, you cannot, right? That there will be life after death, there's a God, there's everything. Just believe in this, right? And all of this man-made just to be out of this world. We are in this world, so let's live in this world, right? And that is why it is very hard to make that leap of faith. It's called the leap of faith, right? It's very, very hard. But these people is very hard to convince. That's why don't waste your time, right? Don't waste your time, because you have to convince them that there is something called ghaib beyond your comprehension. Once they accept that, then religion becomes easy to get. But they are not actually, they are denying it, period. And again, from my experience and from many sheikhs I studied with, from many atheists I talked to, that is the easiest route for someone who wants to follow their desires without any accountability. They don't want anybody to tell them haram and halal. They don't want a higher being, a higher source that they will stand in front of and admit what is right and what is wrong. No, I am the one who is in control of my life. I can do whatever I want. Right? Now, if you say there's a code that tells you how to dress, how to talk, how to walk, how to interact, how to do this, it's kind of hard, because now you are taking all this from me. Okay, so it is basically, or hawa, lust. Allah Azza wa Jalla said the one who takes his God as his hawa. That's what I feel, that's what I see, that's what I want to do, right? But at the end, when you follow the same philosophy, you will find that there is something lacking. There has to be something that you don't understand. There has to be something that your human mind cannot explain.
So, Shay, is it fair?
And that would be God at the end of the day, right? Yeah, so, but they don't want to say the word though. But there has to be something that you don't know why this is happening. Okay?
Yeah, it just happened that.
Yeah, yes?
So is it fair to say that most philosophers are atheists?
At our time, yes.
At our time?
At our time, yes. They will not come there, because the religion trying to balance the things that you cannot humanly experience physically with the things that humanly, physically possible to experience. That's what religion does, right? Salah is a physical act. You go up and down, you feel those, right? You know exactly what you're doing. But also there is a spiritual thing you cannot describe, that you get out of it. When you make the tawaf, it's a stone, you're going around and all of that, right? But there is something, again, after you finish, like you cannot explain, right? All of this universe, there has to be a power behind it, right? So those are the things that philosophy does not help you get.
But Chair, there are some people who are, after all this conversation, and Lord knows how, attractive and eventually embrace Islam.
But this is not our job. It's not my job or your job for them to embrace or not. My job and your job is to show as much as you can and speak. But again, the problem is when you feel that you are the guardian of the religion, or you feel that this person has to accept Islam, otherwise I'm going to hate them. No. Allah Azza wa Jalla said to the Prophet, In alayka illa al-balagh. Your job is only to deliver. That's it.
But isn't it, when we start when in the Quran, Tafseer, you feel if just the situation prompts you into place where you know the conversation happened to get into that.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. The many people
That's what I
embrace
meant.
because of that. Absolutely.
It's not, you know, like,
No.
out of the blue. and-
No. Many people they
I
read
don't
the
do that
Quran
as well.
and because something attracted them, they believe. And Allah is the one who have.
Because, like, for example, I make Salah, and then they were like, in Brazil, for example, and it's like, what you doing, you know? Oh, why, you know? And then, you know, that's, for example.
Yeah, the whole issue, as I said, sometimes it's the simplest of explanations. And again, as I said, don't feel like you have to explain the whole religion to someone. You don't have to, oh, I'm just praying. That's part of my religion. If they ask another question, then I give another answer. But don't go, my point, don't go in the debate mode. It's not going to help you, and it's not going to help them either. Someone viciously debating, they are not looking for guidance. They are not. They are looking to prove you wrong. And the more you go, the more you're getting in a quicksand. Because there will be a level that you don't know. Right? And then they'll say, oh, see, you don't know. Don't get there. So just be yourself, and anybody who wants, you give them. But anybody who attacks, just, not dismiss it, but at the same time, don't entertain it, don't indulge too much. I give you a simple point to move on. The issue of why it is not like a in one place, right? Like, finish this subject and then this subject. Again, if you look to our life, we wake up in the morning, we have a certain routine, right? I wake up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, that's what I do, brush my teeth, shower, whatever, you learn. That's this part. Then I go drive my car, and we take things like that, right? Correct? But now, this is one stop. Now, if you go outdoor on a survival mode, what do you do? What are you going to do first when you wake up in the morning? You see, it depends on your need now. Yes? So priorities will change every single day, every single situation. Right? And that's actually what Quran does. Quran bonds you with nature. It does not follow your routine. So you have a routine to read books in a certain way. And you want Quran to follow the same thing. No. This is not going to help you. That's why those who can do outdoors and the survival, they live this life better than us. Yes? So those who can go out and they know everything in the survival, how can I make a rope, how can I build a house, how can I create a fire, they will appreciate the stove, the kitchen, these trees, which one to cut, which one not to cut. But me and you wake up and we want somebody to do it for us. Yes? Yeah, and that's what all those books on the bookshelves and bestsellers, they're doing for us. They tell you what to do. And you just follow it blindly, like hands down, and you are following like a herd. But Quran tells you not to do that. You cannot do that. That's why it gives you all this information in bulk like this, right? And you find that we are talking about the divorce and everything. Why the Salah is coming here? Right? Because you are not used. You go to the court, and this is now the court for my ticket, speeding ticket. You see? So I am going in that mentality. But in Islam, the court is not that. The court, there is a judge who established the deen of Allah. This is the Sharia. That this is part of. You see? So going to the court for a marriage or a divorce issue, right? And the judge there is reminding me to be among the muttaqeen. Is reminding me with my salah, is reminding me with my duties, is reminding me with... So it's not only... You see what I'm saying here? So that's why the Quran has to be like that. Every subject is in every subject. If it is arranged in different chapters, so what is new? What is new? There's the routine we are following every day, another human being telling me another way. Why your way is better than mine? But Quran is telling you a way, wow, everything is connected. So it is not separate. Your salah is not separate from your business transaction. And that is the point why Adam is here and there and there. Because the story of life, it continues with us. Allah telling us the story of Adam and how the angels talk to Allah and all of that. Is teaching us the adab of teacher and student and all of that. Surah Al-A'raf is more telling us about Yawm al-Qiyamah, Okay? Then Allah said, don't do or don't submit to shaitan's whispering like your parents did. Okay? Well, yeah, my parents were in Jannah and shaitan managed to get them out. And I want to go to Jannah and shaitan want to block me from going in. Right? So I need the story of Adam right here to serve that purpose. And in here, Allah's talking about knowledge. I need the story of Adam right here from that perspective, right? So it keeps coming, but to handle a different aspect. So that's one of the Quranic miracles, subhanallah. Also, this surah is talking to talking about the accepted deen from Allah as the Islam as the accepted deen of Allah. Inna ad-deena 'inda Allah al-Islam. Whoever seeks other than the religion of Islam is not accepted from them. This surah discusses al-Nasara about Isa alayhi salam. Is he a God or son of God or prophet? All of that. This conversation took about half of the surah. The conversation with the Christians took about half of the surah. 1/3 of Al-Baqarah was about the Jews. This is 1/2 of Al-Imran is about the Christians and the debate, the discussion. Right? So this is the section of Aqidah. We said Al-Imran is talking about Aqidah and Sharia, right? So in the section of Aqidah, it talks about the oneness of Allah, the prophethood, the authenticity of the Quran, responding to the doubts and the claims of the people with the book about Quran and the Prophet ﷺ, the religion accepted by Allah is Islam. The half of the surah is discussing the claim about Isa and all of that. And so that's the section of Aqidah. Section of Sharia. Sharia in Surah Al-Imran. It gives us some of the rules of Hajj. Surah Al-Baqarah did that too, right? In details, right? But Al-Imran talking from a different perspective, as I told you. See, here it proves it, here. So Hajj in Al-Baqarah was needed as Arafat, Muzdalifah, this, right? But Hajj here, since Allah is talking to the Nasara, telling them that how Ibrahim a.s. built also the Kaaba and Yaqub a.s. did this and that. Okay, so talk about Hajj, it talks about Jihad as well. And you will see the Battle of Badr, Battle of Uhud mentioned in Surah Al-Imran here. The prohibition of riba mentioned Baqarah is mentioning here in general as well. The punishment for those who withheld zakah, did not give their zakah, don't spend the zakah. Some of the lessons and advices from Battle of Badr and Uhud, and also mentioning about the hypocrites. So that's part of Sharia, right? The Sharia, what to do, how to do. Remember? Sharia. And this surah finished with ayat covering both aspects, Aqidah and Sharia. So Al-Imran discussed the Aqidah and we mentioned the points, and discussed Sharia, we mentioned the points, right? At the end of the surah came to affirm both Aqidah and Sharia. So it asked us to think and ponder. Tafakkur. Tafakkur means look around you in the creation, and you have to reach your Aqidah, that you believe there is Allah, that He did not create all those things out of no reason, and you want Him to save you from the punishment of hell and admit you to Jannah. That's the Aqidah aspect. Yes? And at the end, it told us to do sabr and jihad and do for the sake of Allah. That's Sharia part. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اصبروا وصابروا ورابطوا واتقوا الله لعلكم تفلحون. So Aqidah and Sharia discussed in the whole surah, and it ended also on the same note, emphasizing that. The reason of naming it Al-Imran is because a story of Imran, who is the father of Maryam, the mother of Isa, right? And the story of her birth. And how she came into existence based on the dua, and her mother was expecting a boy, but she got the girl, and we'll discuss that in details, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen, and how she was prepared to become better than many men, other men. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us that 4 women, they were perfect women, right? Maryam, mother of Isa, Asiya, the wife of Fir'aun, Khadija, the wife of Rasulullah, and Fatima, the daughter of Rasulullah. This is the Kamil woman. Kamila means like perfect woman, the perfect woman. So if anybody would this feminist to this and feminist that, just try to be like one of those. First, then talk to us about women and all of that, right? So that's what we need to empower our girls, our children to be like, instead of fighting the man, right, who is boss and equal and not equal, and the men is doing this and men is doing that. Instead, we teach our daughters how to follow the footsteps of Khadija radiallahu anha, Fatima radiallahu anha, Aisha radiallahu anha, of these great women who taught humanity how to be human beings, right? And instead of telling them to fight some authority, now teach them to be qualified. You see how the approach is? So one approach is to keep fighting, and one approach is to prepare someone so they don't fight. Okay? What actually make people surrender? When you have authority, right? But how you get that authority? By qualifying yourself or by keep fighting? Well, when you're fighting, you are busy with fighting, okay? You are busy with fighting, and then you become exhausted. But instead, you prepare yourself. You go take classes, take courses, read more and more, until people say, wait, she is saying things that we don't have. We got to listen to that lady, right? You got your authority right there. So, that's how Aisha radiallahu anha functioned, right? That's how all these great scholar women, they are. Okay? They did not go there and say, you men have to listen to me, otherwise I'm going to create hell for you, right? It's not like that. They studied, they sacrificed, they were patient until a point came and nobody can say that I'm more knowledgeable than that lady, right? Then what choice do I have except to go and sit and learn from her? I have to. And if I learn now that in Egypt there is a woman, Shaykha, who have the sanad of the Quran higher than any other man, why should I say that? No, she's a woman. Of course not. I'm going to run and say, please, accept me as your humble students. And she said, come next year or come next month. I said, okay, please, yeah, right? But if she doesn't have anything, she does not have anything, and she comes here and says, you know what, you make a halqa, I'll make a halqa too. Why you have this, I will do that. You are men taking everything and we have to prove ourselves as women. I can teach tafseer too. I'll start a halqa. All right, bismillah, have. Right? But this is not for the sake of the merit, of the knowledge. It's the sake of I want to prove that everything you do, I can do even better, right? But that's not the point. And Islam is not like that. Islam is based on merit, man or woman. Based on merit. Be more knowledgeable, I'll become your student. I'll sign up first person.
But you said 2 things very important.
Yeah.
You said sacrifice and patience.
Yes.
It
teaches you. People just want to become famous, want to become celebrity, want to have equal rights without actually doing anything to deserve that.
Right.
Why?
Entitlement.
Why? Yeah, exactly. And as humans, we have the fighter inside of us. It's like the animal law. Believe me, Islam came to change that. Once a person challenges you, you challenge them back, whether you're right or wrong. I told you before, right? You drive in the street, someone trying to pass you, and you honk, and you don't want them. But if somebody comes in, right? Simple. Yeah. It's like it's the human nature of things, right? So it is by merit and by being nice, by being patient, by being humble. It's not by fighting it, by trying to prove a point. Believe me, you lose. One of my shuyukh one time, he said, sometimes there are certain battles that need to be lost. There are certain battles that cannot be fought. A battle with your parents. a battle with your spouse. You don't have to win. I'm serious. So most of the time, because if you win, you actually lose. Every time when there is a conflict. Now, what is the main thing here that guiding this conflict? Who wins? So the truth is lost now. So sometimes one has to succeed, like, okay, right? Because if you prove your point, there's something broken on the other side.
You don't always have to be right.
Yeah, it's something broken on the other side. So I say something and my mother said, no, it's like that. Mom, this is, no, it's like that. Okay. All right. Now, I can just go to the extra step and I say, here. Now you understand? I was right all along. Now she's quiet. But what happened? Her heart is broken. I won, right? I proved that I am right. But now her heart is broken. I am wrong in front of my baby, my child. So she's broken, right? So next time, she's not going to advise me with anything. See the battle now? The same thing happened between spouses. You go right? No, left. Oh, no, right? Okay, I'm going to prove to you you're wrong right now. Here is the right. See? So now is a problem, right? So, okay. I think so. Good. Let's learn. Oh, maybe you were thinking about another direction. You find excuse for them. It's different, right? It's different. So you got to do this or that. What do you think? What you want? No, I'm just asking you. Yeah, I know you are asking me, but we can make the decision together, right? So it is always like that. Sometimes there are battles cannot be won, and there are some battles cannot be fought to start with, right? Yeah, but this you don't get it when you get it after a while, and it's too late when you get it. I'm sorry, it's too late. Already, we did all the fighting for 20 years. Now we find out that we were not supposed to fight. Anyway, so this surah is named Al-Imran because of the father of Maryam alayhi salam. Father of Maryam alayhi salam, the mother of Isa, and we'll enjoy inshallah that story because it's a story full of relevant lessons for us to learn. Relevant lessons with the children, husband, wife, who's a good mother, the daughter, and how the woman impresses, the man. All of these things, inshallah, we'll discuss about. How Allah Azza wa Jal. Also, this surah, Baqarah and Al-Imran, it is called Az-Zahrawayn, the two lights. Two lights, shining lights, the two shining lights, because they guide like a light. It guides you to a certain direction. So these surahs also have lots of those lights and meanings and concepts and teachings that makes light for us in this dunya and the light in Yawm al-Qiyamah as well. And those surah, according to one of the Tafseer, have the greatest name of Allah. Ismullah al-A'zam, يعني surah آية الكرسي الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. This surah starts also Alif Lam Mim, الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. Some of the opinions that Al-Hayy Al-Qayyum is together, they are the greatest name of Allah. The other opinion says one of them is the name of Allah. One of them said Allahu la ilaha illa al-Hayy al-Qayyum is like the greatest name of Allah. The greatest name of Allah, and have different meanings, have different opinions about it. What is the bounty or the status of Surah Al-Imran? As I mentioned before, Baqarah and Al-Imran, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, as the hadith narrated in Sahih Muslim, يؤتى يوم القيامة بالقرآن وأهله. يوم القيامة, Quran and its followers will come forward. Those who used to practice what they learned. تقدمه سورة البقرة والعمران. Baqarah and Al-Imran come first, right, among the recitations of a person. Also, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, اقرأوا القرآن, recite the Quran. فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لأصحابه. it will come in the day of the judgment to intercede for the people who recite it. So Quran will intercede for you if you recite it. And if you study it, it will intercede even more. If you practice it, will more and more. If you teach it, more and more. So here are levels, reciting the Quran, understanding the Quran, practicing the Quran, teaching the Quran. So then Rasulullah said, اقرأوا الزهراوين, read the two shining lights, البقرة وآل Surah Al-Imran. فإنهما, because they will be, both of them, يأتيان يوم القيامة كأنهما غمامتان أو غيايتان, two clouds covering you, أو كأنهما فرقان من طير صواف, two flocks of birds, right, extending their wings, تحاجان عن أصحابهما, interceding or arguing for those who used to recite them. Then Rasulullah said, اقرأوا سورة البقرة, we mentioned that hadith before, recite Surah Al-Baqarah, فإن أخذها بركة, reciting it and knowing it is barakah, blessing. وتركها حسرة, abandoning it is misery. When somebody abandons Surah Al-Baqarah, will become miserable. ولا يستطيعها البطلة, يعني the magicians or those make sihr cannot overcome Surah Al-Baqarah. This is kind of a quick introduction about Surah Al-Imran, mashallah. يعني this surah is great surah, subhanallah. You will find in this surah that the ayat is softer ayat, because subhanallah the Yahud يعني have strength and roughness, so the ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah was kind of powerful and strong. Surah Al-Imran, and for Christians have like some يعني kind manners. Surah Al-Imran is the same thing. And this also because there was a group of Najran. Najran is a place in Yemen that was dominant by Christian, dominantly Christian. And when they heard about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they sent a delegation to come and talk to him about Islam and what to do and all of that. And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed them to stay in Masjid al-Nabawi. Even they did their prayers in the Masjid al-Nabawi. Yeah, staying there for a few days. And then the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam discussed with them, as the surah will show us. And then he invited them to the religion, but they kind of refused at the end, and they said our religion is better. Then Rasulullah said, well, let's have the confrontation. Confrontation was the Jews in Surah Al-Baqarah, right? If you really the chosen ones, remember the ayah? Then ask Allah to die. Surah Al-Baqarah, it says that if you really you are chosen one and you are not going to go to hellfire, so why you are staying here? Right? Ask Allah to die. If they asked, there will be no Jew living on earth. If they really asked that, but they got scared, they did not ask, right? That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla told them in Surah Al-Baqarah in the beginning, and if you remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ إِن كَانَتْ لَكُمُ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَالِصَةً مِّن دُونِ النَّاسِ فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتَ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Allah said, if the akhirah is for you only and nobody else, like you state, then wish for death if you are truthful. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَلَنْ يَتَمَنَّوْهُ أَبَدًا بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ, and they will never do that because they know what they did, right? So Rasulullah said, if they wished, there would be no Jew on earth until Yawm al-Qiyamah. But they know that they're wrong, right? That's why I told you, Aqidah is what you know about yourself. People can fool anybody, one can fool. I can fool anybody about anything, but I cannot fool myself. I know exactly who am I. I can pretend in front of you that I am the biggest scholar there is in the Quran, right? And you can buy it, maybe. But if I sit among the scholars of Tafseer and Quran, I know exactly my level, right? How far can I go? I know myself. And everybody of us do know. how much you believe in Allah, how good you are, how bad you are, right? So stop putting a face, right? Ask Allah for maghfirah, ask Allah for satr. Satr means covering you, right? Ask Allah for satr, not to expose you. Ask Allah for help, ask Allah for mercy, ask Allah for guidance. Yeah, so this is here it was more detailed. Rasul ﷺ said, well, if you're saying that your religion is right, so let you have bring your children, your family, yourselves, and I'll bring my children, my family, and myself, and let's both pray to our Creator to bring His curse upon those who are lying. قل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم, our children, ونساءنا ونساءكم, our women and women, وأنفسنا, ourselves, وأنفسكم, ثم نبتهل, we ask, فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. We bring the curse of Allah upon those who lie. And that's called in Arabic mubahala. Mubahala. When two confront each other, right? And both of them make the dua, they bring their families, and they stand in front of each other, and they said, I believe in such and such and such, and I ask Allah by His names and attributes to bring His curse upon me if I'm lying. Right? And the other person has to say the same thing, and then that's it. Right? And subhanallah, in the history, whoever did this mubahala, one of them ended up really, really bad. Because some people, they do that. They end up really, really bad. So don't make it reach to that level, right? Because see, when the Prophet ﷺ said that, now they know he's the Prophet. They do. As I told you, you can put whatever face you want, right? But when it comes to truth, you know yourself. They backed off. Well, he's ready, okay? I am telling you I am the Prophet. And you are denying that. Well, okay, you are saying that I'm not the Prophet. Fine. Let's make dua, both of us. You are religious people, I am a religious man. Okay? So let's make dua to God and see which one the curse will come. Now, if they responded, same thing would have happened. But they didn't. And this is, Allah didn't want it to happen anyways, right? Because if Allah wanted it to happen, it would have happened, right? But Allah is showing us His mercy even for those who deny Him. You don't look at the aggressive part of the deal. Look to the result, right? They did not believe in Allah. They rejected His messenger in His face. Yet He did not fight them, right? He did not fight them. He actually made them pray at His mosque until they leave. Okay? So they did not accept the religion. He did not kill them. He did not fight them. They went, and later on, they started, sending money, and, said, we are under the rule of Islam, but we are not going to become Muslims. No big deal. You see how the political thing, social thing, religious thing, they all can work together. But someone have to take leadership, and someone have to work it out. So that's Surah Al-Imran, inshallah, is one interesting surah. So I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to guide us and give us life and give us barakah and to show us the hidayah and the guidance and bestow upon us the knowledge to finish it together, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Next time, inshallah, we'll read and we'll continue. But before next time, inshallah, you'll receive the summary of Surah Al-Baqarah, inshallah.
You said in history it happened.
Yeah, some people they did.